They're taking their time today, guys. They have not started yet. It's the first time in a while that I can actually take a little break, and we have not hopped into the next series yet. Maybe the nerds have some issues connecting, but I believe that we are ready to go. Reynor, Jack Frost versus Dragon KaiZi Gaming's her0. Reynor vetoes RotterdaM and Golden Aura. her0 vetoes Equilibrium and Alcyone. So we're gonna kick things off on Heartlet. Second one would be Oceanborn. Third one would be Solaris. Fourth one Hecate. And if we get there, guys, it would be decided on site Delta. Reynor has been looking mighty fine over the last few days. Obviously won the European Pro Tour weekly and looked very good in his series yesterday. I think 3-1 Reynor is a good prediction. That is the one that I would go for personally, but her0 is a wild card and can always find clever ways to win. Here we go.
Let's get it on.
Top left side, Dragon KaiZi Gaming's her0. Bottom right side, the Italian Stallion representing BASILISK. It is Reynor. her0 got this 67% of the time, says Aligalek. That is a very large number, and I'm very surprised by that. But I think Aligalek obviously does not know that there is a massive difference between a Reynor that plays a lot and a Reynor that plays very little. And I think everybody knows that Reynor has been grinding over the last few weeks, and he's been doing his best to get in the best possible form he can get into. Hey, you can actually... That is a moment, guys, where I would pull the drones for a split second. I think that's a guaranteed kill on that probe. I think that probe was too stuck that you cannot possibly save it, no matter how it would click on a different mineral patch. I think you could have killed it. Now, obviously, you should never go for it, but if it's legitimately underneath 4 drones, I think you can kill it. 4-2 in a best of 5? That's crazy, Trigger. Our Basilisk Protoss is feeling feisty, guys. He's just casually expecting 6 maps in a best of 5. If you are right, we are in for one hell of a journey. Now, this is, by the way, such a her0 wall, man. I look at this, and it reminds me of the first 5 years that I played StarCraft 2, where I did not know how to wall off, so I would just always wall off with a pylon, and then I would get the backup pylon in the mix as well. I don't know. It seems terrible, but... Yeah. There is a world where you can say, like, maybe this is bait, right? Maybe her0 does this on purpose, so Reynor will go for a baiting boss, and then it doesn't work, but... I don't know, this feels weird to me. It's an anti-dark wall, why is that? No, I don't think Reynor would baiting boss. Reynor is not that silly that he looks at this and says, I'm just going to baiting boss. Is there a chance that it would work? Yeah, absolutely, especially with that second pylon being in the main, but it is risky, right? Because what if her0 suddenly builds a battery and then gets a good second defensive unit and spots it? Then if Reynor has a perfect game plan, then he's just down 0-1. So Reynor is not going to do that. We're just probably going to see throughout this best of 5 a lot of adept openings into oracles, into double robo. her0 is a massive fan of the obviously Blink Stalkers follow-up. But if the Blink Stalkers cannot win the game, he loves double robo Colossus. Of course, throughout the best of 5, you're not necessarily going to do the same build 5 times in a row. So there is a chance that her0 will go for a Void Ray once and then build a quick Twilight Council and attack with a bunch of adepts with Resonating Glaives. I especially expect in the very first game a relatively standard her0. Few adepts, few oracles, into a fort and a couple of Blinky boys, and we're going to take it from there. her0 obviously does know what he's doing. It is hard to imagine that is a great wall, but her0 obviously knows what he's doing, and he would know how to react if certain weird things would happen in the early game. If it was that easy to kill her0, her0 wouldn't be doing it. I think her0's PvZ is pretty good. It's also very wild and chaotic. What her0 truly excels at in this matchup, I think, is just the ability to read certain situations very quickly and go for forward blinks where you think it's crazy, but then it's actually the right thing to do, because instead of taking a good trade, you can just straight up win the game. And her0 PvZs can end when you really don't expect them to end. Why is your team Basilisk not making some advertising on your team clothes? Because they want to be 100% certain of the companies that they partner with. I know there is plenty of talks of companies they are talking with, but they are not desperate in just slamming down a bunch of logos and teaming up with whoever wants to team up with us. But maybe, you know, a year from now, the Basilisk jerseys and sweatshirts and hoodies will look a little bit different. There's always a chance. Hero's not going to go for Blink here, guys, in game 1. Hero's actually going to fire up Charge first. Zealots with +1 are very good against Zerglings because it takes them one less hit to kill Zerglings. Reynor has dropped a pretty early Roach Warren though, so I don't expect a world where Reynor is going to be in a lot of trouble. That is a lot of gates. That is a silly amount of gates. Alright. There are so many gateways that just a few safety roaches will not necessarily be good enough. I wonder if we're going to get a Templar Archives with this as well, because I haven't seen a Templar Archives yet. I'd be surprised if Hero just wants to attack with Zealots only. What do you think of the 315, 320 Nexus before first Oracle and PvZ? I've seen it a few times. I don't feel particularly strong about it. I don't think I love it. But I do think it is nice throughout the best of 5 to throw in a build like that once, just to make the timings a bit different and make your opponent a little bit less comfortable, right? If they can blindly guess when certain units will show up, it can become very annoying. So I think switching up your own timings on your side of the map is always nice, especially throughout longer series, a best of 5 or a best of 7. So Hero is just gonna grab a bunch of Zealots with +1 and send them to the other side of the map. Like, this is so crazy to me. But okay. Queens are going to be a little bit exposed. Reynor had a Roach Warren early, but he doesn't have any roaches out yet. There is a decent amount of surface area on these two Queens. But that Spore Crawler is making sure that the Oracles can't help out. And Transfuse is good. I think very good defensive positioning. Did Reynor cancel that hatchery? That's what I want to know, because this Zealot count is getting crazy freaking high. And Reynor really does need to crank out a couple of units at this point. He's sitting on 700 minerals. It almost feels like he's waiting for his Banelings to be ready so he can morph some Banelings. But, ooh, I love morphing those roaches into Ravages. But now all the Queens that are on the wrong side of the wall will get surrounded. And Reynor is going to try to build as many Lings as many Lings and then Banelings as possible. But Hero's already finding some pretty good damage. We now have 2 Adepts in the main as well. Reynor is in trouble here in game 1, guys. Hero just rallying Zealots to the other side of the map. There is no War Prism here. There are no Archons. There is no Pylon and a hidden gateway for quick reinforcements. Hero just doing Hero things. You look at this and you may be like, man, this is awesome. I'm going to try this on the ladder. Do you know what's going to happen? You're going to run into a 5.1k barcode Zerg that has 12 roaches ready and you won't kill a single unit. But whenever Hero does it, it just looks genius. GG gets called. Reynor made a lot of drones, had a Roach Warren, did not make any roaches, and got overrun by Zealots with +1. Hero's camera has 12 pixels. It's a bit of a shame. That was honestly a bit odd. Reynor clearly did not expect Hero to make that many Zealots and to hit on that moment. And this is kind of the power of Hero's PvZ, guys. Hero just has weird variations in his builds, where instead of a few units, he shows up with a few more. And when you think he's not really committing, he is committing. And when you think you're safe, you're not safe. A very surprising and odd first game. This is the year 2000 webcam. That is not even the Logitech C920, but it's the older webcams that we use for MSN. I was like, do you want a webcam? I mean, that is not like a devastating loss for Reynor, right? It is. I think it can be sometimes a bit intimidating to lose the first game in the best of 5 if you feel like you played a good game, but your opponent was just in all the right places at once and gets the best of you over and over again. Those are the ones that can kind of shake your confidence a little. I think Reynor will look at that and be like, well, that was silly. I should not have died, but I did die. Let's learn from it and move on. I was not there for that Notorious Purr, because I was a Warcraft 3 boy. And in Warcraft 3, we had this third-party application called WAAGH TV. WAAAAAGH TV. It was very nice. If you would open that third-party app and people would share games to WAAGH TV, then the games would show up in your local area network and you could join the games yourself. And that is the way that we used to watch Warcraft 3 games when there was no Twitch or live streams. It was actually fucking awesome. Just once in a while it would bug out and then it looked like players were doing very dumb stuff and they were derping, but then there was just an error in the code and then the game just started doing its own thing and we're like, what the hell is he doing? But then he wasn't actually doing anything wrong. We were just watching the wrong version of the game. Yeah, we didn't watch any streams. I feel like we never had any streams with Warcraft in the early days. I mean, I don't remember how it was spelled exactly, but something like... something along those lines. You would run that program and then the games would show up in your local area network. Round 2, guys. Here we go.
Round 2. Fight!
Bottom right side of Oceanborn. We are looking at the main base of the man that's representing Basilisk. The Italian Stallion down 0-1. After getting a-clicked by a whole bunch of zealots. It's Reynor. Top left side, the man with his odd wall-offs. But it doesn't really matter how he does it, right? He just keeps on doing it. Turning into a bit of a Protoss hope in this tourney as he is the last Protoss remaining. Dragon KaiZi Gaming's hero. How is it 1-0? Because it is 1-0 and this is the second game in the best of 5 and Hero won the first round. I don't think there's any other way for me to answer that question. It is 1-0 because that's just the score. Reynor said 3-0, 3-0, 4-0. He was obviously memeing a little, mate. He was saying that because in the previous days of Masters Coliseum, we've had a lot of 3-0s. And on the last day of the Swiss format, we also had 2-0s. Wardy had the finals of his Wardy TV Championship, and that was a 4-0. So, yeah, to stay in that trend, I don't think that Reynor was actually saying that Serral was going to 3-0 Maru, even though he did. But I don't think a lot of us would have called it, especially not after how well Maru played in the Swiss format. And I don't think that Reynor looks at Hero and says 3-0. He respects Hero. Obviously, he's confident in his ability to bring the series home, but Reynor has a lot of respect for Hero. And he knows that he's a very dangerous opponent. Yeah, and he could still be right, but then it would be a 3-0 for Hero. And that is definitely not what I'm hoping for, and I think that's not what a lot of you guys are hoping for. Unless you're just the ultimate diehard Hero or Protoss fan and you're like, I don't care how they win, as long as my boy wins. And that's fine. That's how I watched the Canva Baybaker yesterday. Was the game good? No. Did PSV deserve a penalty? Yes. Do I give a fuck? Absolutely not. We won, baby! So, I get it. But with StarCraft, I'm a little bit more neutral. I just hope for good series. Something that's a big back and forth. I can't answer that actually, Risen Eternal. But Reynor has been doing pretty good against Max Packs, so maybe I have to say it is Hero. Because Reynor has pretty good results against Max Packs at the moment, and I wouldn't say that Max Packs is lost in PvZ, but it doesn't seem to be his best matchup, so there is a good chance that Reynor would answer that with saying, I'm more afraid of Hero, but I can't speak for him. So I can only guess, just like you guys can guess. Oh, Magnet. I don't know if you saw the moment I'm talking about, mate, but at first I thought, okay, the only way that is not a penalty is if the guy was offside, and it looked like it was offside. But then later on it showed that it was clearly onside. And then I have no idea how that was not a penalty, but hey. It's nice when your favorite sports team gets lucky every now and then. Most of the time we get unlucky. It was a little dirty, but it's all good. Can an Adapt Shade block a hash from going down? Absolutely. Just like you can use an Adept Shade to prevent a pylon or a battery from going down. Double Forge, by the way. Triple Forge! Hero so fucking cool! What the fuck? What the hell? Oh my goodness. Okay. What a legend. Hero's a fucking legend. I've tried this a few times myself, guys, but when I say I tried it, I mean I tried it at 1500 MMR lower than what Hero is currently playing against. So obviously that is not relevant at all. And I have to admit that whenever I do this, I do it as a bit of a meme. So sick. Hero is too cool, man. What the fuck? So we're gonna... And we have a Robo as well, so we're just gonna spam Immortals. Triple Forge Immortal. If this works, it's actually the coolest victory of the year. I'm calling it right now. If Hero wins this game, he is my #1 baller of the year 2024. Because you deserve some style points for this, baby. Ow. What the hell did I just do, guys? I just hit my desk with my knee. And A, I hurt myself, and B, my lamp started shaking. Almost a total disaster. But this desk is built different, baby. Just like Heroes built different. Triple Forge. Triple Forge, Immortal Zealot Archon, maybe? Is that kind of the direction that we're going to? I'd be very surprised if he now gets Blink. Well, yeah, he doesn't. So he's going to fire up Charge. What a build. When this patch just got introduced, we actually had a game on this map. A very cool game. The Battle of the Roommates between Reynor and Skillis. I don't know if you guys remember that on Oceanborn. In the end, it turned into a bit of a base trade, where Skillis just attacked with like 12 Immortals. And they just did not die. It just felt that the barriers were always online. The barriers were always activated. It was proper Coco. Oh, Hero, no, not like this, mate. I was so excited for this build. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? He is going to recall the Oracles, but we're going to take damage. We lose the Stalker, and everything has been revealed. Oh, that's Spain, guys. That is Spain with a capital P. Kudos, obviously, to Reynor for being active with the Zerglings, right? And picking up a probe and forcing that Stalker to... Well, he didn't force him, but... With Reynor's activity, it is more likely that his opponent is going to make a mistake. If Reynor isn't active there, obviously none of that would ever happen. And now it has been revealed. TLDR, we had a game between Skillis and Reynor where it just felt that 10 Immortals never died. And Reynor did complain about the current Immortal a few times. Where he's like, what the hell, man? I think it's bugged. Seriously, like, I think it's bugged. It just does not die. He's like, don't you think it's bugged? Something is wrong with it. I don't know what's wrong with it. I was like, nah. I was like, I think it's fine, mate. It's an expensive unit. It costs a lot of supply. I think it's okay if it's like somewhat powerful. He's like, but did you see those fights? They just never died. I was like, yeah, I saw them. It's almost like they live up to their name. Exactly, Fenrak. Yeah, no, Reynor obviously saw that with the links. I do kind of wonder, okay, if you're Reynor and you scout this, and you're like, alright, I'm playing against a Mad Lad who's going triple Forge. I would not go Ultras here. Like, I always believe in Lurkers. I think Lurkers in high amount are always solid against Ground Toss. Not everybody agrees with that, but I actually think Lurkers are sick. Broodlords, of course, would be awesome, but it takes a long time before you can really get up to Broodlords. And I'm kind of afraid that you're gonna die as a Zerg if you go straight into Broodlords. And Ultralisk, I would stay very far away from. Like Lynx with Adrenal, Banelings in the mix. Like a nice mix between Lynx, Banes, Roaches, Ravages, that's fine. Does not seem that Reynor believes in Lurkers here at all, because he hasn't dropped the Hydra Den. I don't know. Ultra versus Immortal is not good. No, I do not believe in Ultras here. Especially not when the Archons and Immortals are going to be this well upgraded. So maybe Reynor is just going to try to make some magic happen with Ling, Roach, Ravager, Bane. Even a couple of Twins in the mix. And after that, can spam Mutas, can spam Broodlords. All of that is a possibility. Guys, we have no Baneling speed. We have no Baneling speed. We have 25 Banelings, no Baneling speed. And it's not even on the way. Reynor is now up to almost 40 banelings. And only now he's going to start up baneling speed. Okay. He did not forget his Reynor glands now. He wants to make sure that that's not a thing. He does not like it when we call that the Reynor, but... Yeah, this is so painful, man. This many slow banelings. Like, the Archons can actually just kind of stand there, get a couple of hits off, and make so many banelings explode. Supplies are heavily in favor of Reynor. Kind of surprised by that. As the War Prism has spotted the Great Aspire, so her0 obviously knows that he's kind of on the clock. Losing a prism like that is not too nice if you only have one robo. Now her0 has invested a decent amount in some static defenses. He needs to be very careful that the Immortals do not get surrounded by Zerglings. Here we go. Can these upgrades shine a little bit, guys? Can the Immortals live up to their name? I'll kind of say that the answer is yes. As we have a double Zealot 1-buy. That's lovely multi-prong aggression by her0. I feel like he's going to click on the Great Aspire. her0 is definitely the kind of guy to just click on the Great Aspire, but he's not going to do that yet. He's going to battle the Queens, and then he's going to go for drones. Kind of would have loved to see him maybe go for the Great Aspire, as baneling speed is now ready, and those banelings will find decent connections. These Zealots, though, are going to be very hard to clean up. Don't forget, this is not your average Zealot run-by. These are 2-2-2 Zealots, baby. And a couple of Lings are definitely going to have a hard time dealing with that many Zealots, but Reynor's done a good job. Bought some time with the Queens, spent some Ravages home. Could have been a whole lot worse. I'm kind of sad that her0 did not click on the Great Aspire there, guys. I feel like that would have been a play. Imagine how much time her0 would have bought for himself if those Zealots would have just surrounded the Great Aspire. You kill it immediately. Actually, +3 attack on this point. No, that's not true. It is 2-2-2. There is no +3 yet. There will be +3 for the Zerglings in the near future. As a couple of cannons and a pylon do fall against Lings and mostly the Ravages and their corrosive ball ability rather. 12 minutes into Oceanborn, definitely a different game. Reynor has his Great Aspire, does not have any Corruptors yet. This is that moment, guys, where her0 says, hey, I'm starting to like my army. I believe that I don't need to be near cannons and batteries. I believe that this army is big enough with the sexy upgrades that I have, that I can make magic happen. Honestly, I am a bit concerned. Reynor has a 31 army supply more. These Protoss units are going to be strong. The baneling count is getting very high. Reynor's bank is not massive. 700 minerals, 700 gas. So if her0 takes a convincing W here, the game is almost over. It feels that Reynor is just afraid to crank out those Corruptors, right? I guess Reynor will look at this and say 1 or 2 Brute Lords are not going to make the difference. So either I show up with like 8 Brutes or I don't go Brutes at all. And he probably did not feel that he had the moment to crank out 8 Brute Lords yet. I'm sure he would love Brute Lords, because Brute Lords are amazing against his army, mate. I think it's the best unit you can ever have. We have a Blinding Cloud that is very cool. That's actually going to make it so hard for a lot of these Protoss units to fight. And who needs Brute Lords if you have this many Banelings? But perhaps the answer to the question is still Reynor. The Lings are definitely going to do that thing, though. There's only 3 Archons remaining, guys. And if these Archons cannot take care of the Zerglings, that's where the Lings and Ravages will shine. And Reynor, with an excellent engagement of his ground army, is going to get the clean sweep on that well-upgraded Protoss army. Excellent Ling movement there by Reynor. Incredibly well done. That was a bit of a wash. Lings with his Reynor glands are good. Banelings are good. And that Blinding Cloud, I think, was absolutely fantastic. I believe that that is going to be game. Because just like how Reynor could have been in trouble if he lost that fight, her0 is in all sorts of trouble after losing that fight that one-sidedly. It's not even that Reynor had to use every single unit there to win. Reynor is now here with an immediate counterattack. Banelings for days. Banelings with +3. They still should be able to one-shot the probes, even though maybe with +2 armor and +2 shields, that's not a thing. But Reynor does tie things up. And Reynor says, her0, if your camera has 12 pixels, my camera can go down to 8 pixels, baby. Don't you dare to flex on me with your low-quality camera. I can go lower than that. Reynor is in the club every Friday singing with the ladies. How low can you go? And Reynor is like, you have no idea what my bad boy is capable of. Alright, well that was fun. It's a bit of a shame that it obviously got scouted so early. Can RotterdaM go lower? Yeah. I too can go somewhat low. I mean, if we are just flexing over here. Like, yeah. Here's Roddy, guys. This is my my demo cam, as I call it. when I want to be demo, it's like, hey guys, the year is 2013 and we're streaming video games on the internet. But that is as low as I can go. I cannot go as low as Hero and Reynor, but that is as low as I can go. Uh-oh. What did I just do? Whenever I'm funny, I always hear weird sounds and they scare me. So we are all tied up as we are loading into round 3.
Round 3. Fight.
Top right side of Solaris, Dragon. Nope, that was actually BASILISK Reynor. Bottom left side, it is Dragon KaiZi Gaming's Hero. Really cool idea by Hero there, and I would have loved to see how it would have played out if he just kept it hidden a little while longer, and maybe if we would have just taken a slightly better fight. Maybe it's because Hero saw that greatest spy that he's like, alright, now I do really gotta go, because I don't want to go up against like 10 plus Broodlords. But yeah, because of the idea, the scary thought of Broodlords appearing soon, kind of jumped the gun a little, I guess, and got surrounded, got ambushed, and kudos to Reynor for how he handled that fight. Because I believe that that's the kind of fight, guys, that if you do it a few more times, I think the Protoss could have done a lot better. I think, I don't know if Reynor could have done a whole lot better. I believe that went about as good as it would ever go for Reynor. But I think if you give Hero a resume from replay opportunity, he'll be like, oh, actually, I want to resume that game from replay. And that would be a fun idea for a tournament, by the way, guys. Play a regular tournament, best of 3, best of 5, but everybody has one resume from replay opportunity where they can resume a certain game that they end up losing, but they believe it went wrong. Now, I don't know where Hero would resume that game from replay. Maybe before the links got in, but I think there was more potential in that Protoss army against the army that Reynor had. But kudos to Reynor. Kudos to the fight. Kudos to the blinding cloud. And obviously the links coming in from the top right. And also making sure that those links don't just get obliterated by those well-upgraded Archons. All of it was very fun. Can you resume from replay at the first minute? Yeah. The other day I resumed a Max Packs versus Reynor game 3 times from minute 19. Well, 2 times from minute 19 and 1 time from minute 18. That's pretty fun. I think it's really cool. Different outcomes. So in the official game, Reynor beat Max Packs. And for some fucking godforsaken reason, I thought that I was gonna do better. I did not do better, guys. I got blasted. And every single time we resumed from replay, I got blasted harder and harder and harder. And after the 3rd time, Reynor said, this is it, dick, I'm done. I was like, yeah, that's fair, mate. Thank you for your time. I'm sorry for wasting it. Yeah. StarCraft is a lot easier to look at than it is to play. Yeah, Reynor played Reynor and I played from Max Packs' position. The only thing that really sucks, though, is obviously that then I have all of Max Packs' hotkeys. So then you need to reboot, you need to regroup everything, and the game doesn't have a countdown where you can do that. Maybe, yeah, you can do it in pause either. So that does take like 10 seconds, but I did not get blasted because I had to regroup everything. I got blasted because Reynor is very good in late game, man. I'm not. No, but I didn't challenge anything. I just thought it was interesting. I just did it out of curiosity. I did not have an argument over that game. I did not say that he was supposed to lose or anything. I just looked at a game and a certain situation, and I wondered if you would do X, Y, or Z if it was different. We did not debate over it. I just asked Reynor. I was like, hey man, like I have an idea. You mind doing this? And he said, yeah, sure. So we did it, and I got owned a couple times, and I was like, all right, thank you. Now I know. But We did not have a disagreement over anything in that game. I was just curious, that's all. Mm. Double Adept, double Oracle opening, as these two Adepts have some potential here, guys. I wouldn't hate seeing this shade finish up, and that is exactly what Hero does. Good targeting so far, but nice block with the two Zerglings, guys. That's actually big. Reynor shouldn't lose that one drone there, though, and he won't. Excellent little catch on those two links. This game should be on US West, by the way. That was good. It's not a total disaster for Hero, by the way, guys. If you kill two Adepts, you force out a couple of links. Look at this, by the way. These Oracles just gunning down a Spore Crawler. Reynor trying to cancel the absolute last second, but his ping got the best of him, or he just made a mistake. It's one of the two. Who do I think would be a better match for Serral in the next match? I would love to see Reynor against Serral, obviously. A, because I'm a Basilisk member. B, because I love Reynor versus Serral. And C, because the last time they played against one another was also in this tournament. And Serral got a relatively convincing win. Reynor didn't look bad or anything. It's just Serral looked a bit better. But Reynor has played hundreds of games ever since that happened. So I'd love to see if a Reynor that is getting closer and closer to his peak form can do a lot better than he did, give or take, 8 days ago. So yeah, I would love to see Reynor Serral. But for me, it's a win-win. If Hero makes it into the finals, then we have a Protoss in the top 3 of this tournament, and everybody's happy and we'll stop complaining. And if Reynor wins, then we get to see Reynor against Serral, and it's an amazing day for Basilisk. Which makes my bosses happy, which makes me happy, which makes my teammates happy. So for me, it's a win-win here. But obviously, I do hope that Reynor wins, mostly because of the friend point of view. But I'd be happy for Hero regardless, and it's only the upper bracket, right? There is still a lower bracket. Reynor, I don't know what the rules are actually. I believe in WTL they do not allow it. Any ESL tournament, I believe that Reynor would be allowed to play Protoss on some maps and Zerg on others. But I think in WTL tournaments this is not allowed. Because obviously Hero's done a pretty good job here, by the way, guys, with the Oracles. Now Reynor is looking for a surround with his Zerglings, and Reynor is going to get a bit of a surround, but the Oracles are there to keep them Stalkers safe. And this is honestly classic Hero, guys, where you kind of think it's a normal game, right? It's macro. It's like, well, it could still be, as Reynor does get another surround, but the Stalker's going to blink back. There is a safety stasis trap there. This is, by the way, where it's super important for Reynor that he does not think that Hero is going to slow down anytime soon. Because Hero is not the kind of guy to slow down anytime soon. His hatchery is ultra low on HP and is just casually going to get picked off. But I don't even hate that call. It is obviously better to lose a hatchery than it is to lose the game. But by losing the hatch, you are in a bit of trouble. Reynor's going for the tiniest of bailing counterattacks. The doors are open, by the way, because Hero loves F2. As that is a decent surround. The Queens and Lings are going to buy some time. Reynor's obviously going to retreat. Reynor basically needs like 12 probes with that bailing counterattack. And then I think he's still... Oh, it got spotted. It got spotted. That's big. Great awareness there by Hero. I'm not sure how he saw it randomly, why we had a Stalker there, but kudos to Hero for thinking about that, because that is big. If those slow banelings would have blown up a mineral line, Reynor would have still been in a good spot. Now Hero's gotta be very, very happy with how this game has gone so far. Double fort for Hero. Oh my god, I love Hero. He's just the fucking best, man. So Hero got a pylon and a gateway in the bottom side of the map, guys, because he wanted quicker reinforcements. But now Hero's like, well, I killed that hatch, so I guess I want to expand. But half of his fucking mineral line is blocked. So now he needs to kill his own gateway, otherwise this Nexus won't do anything for him. Hero is just the best. There truly is no Protoss like Hero. And he's looking mighty fine here in game 3 so far. I think that much is certain. Hero really is like a Zest on steroids. But we all know that Zest actually doesn't need steroids because he's incredibly sexy. But what a man. Double fork spinning, marked in the robo as well as that fourth Nexus is done. Anti-bailing, I'm not too certain about that. Reynor did sneak out a pretty quick hive, guys. 9 minutes and 27 seconds into the game, the hive is done. That could be big for all the links that he's making. If the links get Adrenal, they obviously become a lot more powerful. Hero needs to be a tiny bit careful as these Zerglings are going to get the easiest round. More links coming in from the top left. The Oracles, by the way. No, Hero, I don't know about this, mate. Hero, you're losing so many Stalkers. Are you sure that this was the fight to take with the Oracles? I would have said maybe those Oracles should have actually helped out the Stalkers a little bit. But okay, Hero is Hero. And if he thinks that was the right call, perhaps so be it. As the Zealots are now going to battle the Queens. Extra Zealots show up. So many Zealots. Maybe Hero just says, I don't need any more Stalkers. But Stalkers is pretty useful. Reynor is doing his absolute best to just buy time. He's going to get a couple of Banelings. I don't think we have Baneling speed yet. But even slow Banelings are very useful against this many Zealots. The Queens and the Ravager is going to try to buy a little... Yeah, we have Baneling speed here. We have Bane speed and Adrenal Glands is 60% on. A lot of clumped up Zealots there. Here come the Banelings, baby! Those are the Baneling connections that Reynor was looking for. Heroes is immediately going to warp in 10 more Zealots in the back. Not a single split was given by Dragon KaiZi Gaming's Hero. But that's just the way that we know him. That's the way that we love him. It doesn't always look pretty, but he can still find ways to win. And he's in the face of Reynor, and he's not going to slow down anytime soon. As he's just waiting for his next warp-in round of Stalkers. I wonder if he ever did something about that gateway, by the way, at the bottom. Because that would actually be seriously hindering his economy right now. Hero doesn't give a fook. Hero's built different. You say Reynor is doing it? Well, we do have Adrenal, but I don't think he's quite doing it yet. Because the Stalker count is high. Hero is a 4-base Protoss. Has a worker lead, has money in the bank. It just comes down to who is going to handle these fights better. And honestly, I think the Protoss should be favored here. Because the micro potential that these Stalkers have. And that War Prism that's sitting very pretty in the back. And the Oracles that are still alive with a very limited amount of anti-air. So I don't think that Reynor is quite doing it yet. But Reynor is obviously battling. And we know that the Italian can always bring it back. I do think he's in a bit of trouble though. I think I like this a lot more for Hero than I like it for Reynor. Hero is just casually donating like 10 Zealots at a time. These Zealots have not really made the difference yet. As one Disruptor is going to show up, it's not going to go through the speed zone. I kind of wish it would have gone through the speed zone because that would have been a perfect how fast are these balls moment. As there are just stasis traps everywhere. Reynor is trying to get us around, but there are so many stasis traps. He does snipe the War Prism though, that is big. Hero is the kind of guy to blink forward right now, even though that seems absolutely batshit crazy, and I guess even he agrees. As he fires a Nova, he's going to land it on the Queens. There are Banelings in the mix. He is going to blink forward because that is just what Dragon KaiZi Gaming's Hero likes to do. But now obviously the Stalkers can blink and all the links are going to show up. And a couple of seconds are going to be a painful few seconds. A truly epic fight near the triangle as the reinforcements have arrived. A couple of Zealots show up. Jeez Louise, what a battle. In the end, Reynor comes out of that with a bit of a supply lead, but he did lose a lot of his Queens. As a Nova is going to fly forward, blow up 2 Roaches. Not sure if there's a world where we can save that Disruptor anymore. Sniping that War Prism was so big. Whew. Links with Adrenal Glands are massive. That gate. I love that gateway, guys. I will never not look at that 4th base of Hero and not laugh. It's just too cool. It is Hero in a nutshell. Stalkers do not have high ground vision here. I think that's -2 Stalkers there. It's a bit painful. We have a bunch of links with +2 melee and Adrenal Gland showing up at his 5th base of Hero. Hero seems to be a little more concerned about keeping his 4th base alive. Because that's where his very precious gateway is. I mean, those links are just slapping, man. Hero's actually in a bit of trouble. Needs to start spending his money. He's got a bit of money, but I guess all the gateways are on cooldown. He decides to go for a warp-in in the natural to make sure that those links of Reynor cannot get in. But Hero is just losing probes, losing battle units, and now even losing a Nexus everywhere we look. It is still Basilisk Reynor who clutches this one out. What a win. What a win for Reynor under an immense amount of pressure. But he survives, hangs in there, and delivers a devastating counterattack. A 2-1 lead. Yeah, Hero will be looking at that game and it's like, you know, maybe the next time I have 12 Zealots, they don't necessarily have to stand hand in hand right next to each other. But perhaps he was just very impressed by our win last night. And he's like, you know what, I'm going to make Roddy proud over here. And I was like, well, I'm always proud, mate, but I don't know if these Zealots need to be that close to one another. I don't know if it's the forward blink that did him dirty, but I think losing the Prism was big. Losing 22 Zealots against like 10 Banelings or something, I think that was pretty big as well. It is not that easy to split Zealots against Banes, especially not on creep. And if you send Zealots somewhere, they tend to stay very close to each other, but you know, you can always grab a few Zealots and press H, H, H and space them out a tiny bit. We're not supposed to lose that many in a row. Round 4.
Round 4. Fight!
Bottom left side, the Italian Stallion, Basilisk Reynor, taking a 2-1 lead over this man, the only Protoss remaining in the playoffs of the Masters Coliseum 7. Representing Dragon KaiZi Gaming, it is Hero. Been a very fun series so far between these two. A very chaotic one as well, but I don't think any of you guys expected anything else. I definitely didn't. When Hero is playing, you know that it's not going to look like a Showtime series or a stat series from back in the day. None of the slow and steady, solid defensive macro-oriented Protoss play. I feel like Hero just loads into a lobby and he's like, this seems like a great idea, and he does it, and more often than not it works. A mad scientist in that regard, but he's super fun to watch. Very rarely are you going to see a boring best of 3 or a boring best of 5 with Hero. Obviously, if Reynor wins, yes, it is an all-Basilisk final funky scruff. But this is not a team tournament. It is technically a 1v1 tournament. But of course, everyone in the tourney has a team, an esports org that they represent. Well, besides, it's dark at the moment, but I believe that is temporary. I'm sure that he will get picked up by someone if he wants that. Has there ever been a ZVZ finals before? Yes. There has been a couple of ZVZ finals, mate. That is not very rare. Hero is gonna switch things up a little bit. He says, alright, I've had my fun with the Oracles. Honestly, I don't think the Oracles did all that bad. By the way, I also think a crucial moment in this game is when Hero, his Oracles, were battling those Ravagers. And he was just like casually shooting at a couple of Ravagers and a couple of Roaches. Meanwhile, there were 50 Zerglings with +2 melee surrounding those Stalkers. He lost way more Stalkers than I think he was supposed to lose there. That was honestly, I think, a pretty big moment as well. Because if those Oracles are on top of that massive Stalker ball, that's not a fight that Reynor can take. Yeah, since the Oracles were having a fun time battling a Ravager and a Queen, I think it went a lot better for Reynor than it was supposed to happen. He's gonna 2-base all-in? No, I don't think that's necessarily a 2-base all-in. I think if you open up glaives, like 4-gate glaives with a robo, it's pretty common to only have 2 probes mining on the gas for a little while. Obviously, if you want to go for like a quick Dark Shrine, then you probably get the gas is fully saturated, but Now, Hero should still be willing to go up to 3 bases. If not, I'd be very surprised. 2 base, Resonating Glaive, Adept all in. Not great. I think it's a lot better with like a 3rd, even if you don't build a lot of probes. You can obviously make it seem like it's going to be a macro game and then build up an Immortal or 2 and then first attack with 4-gate Glaive Adept, go home, and then sync up with the Immortals, maybe some Sentries, and then even more Adepts. Better question, has there ever been a PvP finals? Plenty, mate, plenty. I was just going over the history of IEM Katowice, as I was kind of curious to see if I did 10 Katowices in a row, like I thought I did. And then you saw the grand finals between like Zest and Trap, SOS and Hero. So IEM Katowice had a PvP grand finals twice. And this is one of the many tournaments. As the roaches are not quite out yet, so this honestly is going to be a rather difficult fight, but Hero is sieging his Warp Prism in a very ugly spot. So he gets a great fight with the Adepts, but losing the Prism that early, that is not something you'd normally want if this is the build that you go for. But I still don't really hate it for Hero, as long as he can now start killing some drones. Don't battle roaches, mate. You lost your Prism, so you're never going to win the fight against the roaches. We want to get some work damage done over here. Hero is not expended, by the way, yet on the other side of the map. He's building an Immortal after he rebuilt the Prism that he lost. It was not 2012 multi. I think in 2012 there was no IEM Katowice. In 2012 there was only Intel Extreme Masters Cbit, aka Hanover. And I think the grand finals was MC against Puma, maybe? No, that's not correct. Was that the one that Squirtle won? Like Squirtle and Ace were there. Maybe that was PvP actually. Or maybe Moon was in the finals. I think 2012 Intel Extreme Masters. There was no Kato as we were tiny linked on by. Oh, that is very bad news for Hero, guys. Immortals are good, but now if they get fully surrounded by Zerglings. Ace won that one. Maybe it was PvP Grand Finals. Ace against Squirtle. I don't know if that was the case or not. Can also be Ace against Moon. These Adepts will get recalled in the end. Hero obviously is making a few errors right now that you can normally not get away with. If you want to go for a 2-base build and you have an Immortal follow-up, you cannot lose an Immortal against a couple of Zerglings that casually run into your natural. You cannot lose the War Prism the way that he did. That is just what Hero does, Medicine 1. Like, Hero is amazing, but he is far from flawless. Like, sometimes Hero reminds me a little bit of Mana in his early days, in his glory days before Mana became our lovely dinosaur. Because Mana was a very successful European Protoss for a long time and had great tournament runs and won tournaments. But Mana never looked flawless. Same like Drogo was never flawless. They were just incredibly good at the builds that they went for and that they were executing. And they had other Protoss players that looked better but were way less successful because they were less good in closing out games. And Hero is just very good in finding a lot of clever ways to win, but he will make some beauty errors. Maybe it is the chaos, right, that he just excels at and that he shines in. Just like right now you look at his army and you're like, well, Reynor, we're going to have to get a couple of Ravages, mate, because if we don't get Ravages soon, this is actually still going to be very scary. I look at 2 Immortals, a couple of Force Fields could go down. Reynor needs some Corrosive Balls, and he's only going to get 1 or 2 here. We have a Disruptor or 2 on the way. These are excellent Force Fields by Hero. The Adepts, by the way, are gonna let the Shade finish off. I really like this attack. This is an amazing attack so far. There's a good chance he's gonna lose a lot of the Adepts, but he can still attack with the Immortals, the Sentries, the Stalkers. Look at Dragon KaiZi Gaming Hero. Yes, he made a couple of mistakes, but look at him now. The boy's absolutely cooking. Looks like a genius again. We have a Disruptor that has now shown up. I mean, Reynor is on 32 drones. Reynor is on 32 drones. That is nothing. As Maynard would say, as we're going to fire a Nova forward, it's going to blow up a Roach. We have Adepts right now battling. I mean, I don't see what Reynor does, right? Reynor's army is not getting any better anytime soon. And meanwhile, these Immortals are still alive. By the way, we could have had one more Immortal here, guys. We have Disruptors in the mix. Reynor's is dead. Reynor is just that. There is nothing he can do here. Hero is a man that scientists will have a very hard time explaining 1,000 years from now. GG gets called. The Italian stallion forced to wave the white flag after 9 minutes and 9 seconds, and Hero is gonna send us to game 5. I mean, the fact that Reynor did not have any Ravages ready for that attack, I think made a very big difference. Because he had enough units, but obviously the units couldn't fight, because we just went back to some Wings of Liberty magic where we're like, hey, you guys like force fields? And if you don't have any Ravages, force fields are a big problem. Hero's smiling, he's like, nice. Losing that prism was on purpose, by the way. I knew that if I would lose my first prism, the queens were out of position and my adepts would do more damage. And then I'm going to give him an immortal, because that's going to give him confidence to drone up. And he won't have any Ravages ready for the next attack. It's like, plan it all out, baby. It's been a very fun series. It's been the kind of series that I think a lot of us expected and hoped for. Does not always deliver, but it has absolutely delivered so far. We have one more series after this, guys. You know, yesterday we only had 2 series. Obviously, those were best of 7. These are best of 5. There is another series coming up. We're going to have an upper bracket final. The winner of this best of 5 is going to duke it out with the great Jonas Sotala, who beat Maru earlier. In the bottom right side of Side Delta, we did get there. It is BASILISK Reynor. Top left side, we are looking at the main base of our Korean Protoss. Looking like a genius. And every now and then looking like one of the guys in the chat. But that is what makes him special, and that is what makes him awesome to cheer for. And perhaps, guys, that is just the recipe for Protoss success. Protoss players were never meant to look very clean and solid, calm, cool, collected. Maybe we were always meant to be chaotic and unpredictable. Shout out to Calaver. I hope I said that right. Probably not. Welcome, mate. We appreciate the brand new subs. They're pretty hard to find when you stream the same game for 12 years on Twitch. So it's always nice to see people join for the very first time. Silver Ewok with the Prime. Thank you, mate. I saw there were some big posts of Twitch yesterday about streaming services, payouts, primes, whatever. I never really dive too much into it because I kind of feel like it's not all that important. And even if I have a strong opinion about it, it doesn't really change anything because I don't matter. But I believe that the prime change is kind of bad because I think it has no longer to do with your ad revenue share and it's just like flat rate. So I believe that I'm going to get less from primes in the future, but it's not the biggest of deals. I matter to you guys, but I absolutely do not matter in the grand scheme of things. I also saw that we're going to do the Twitch Streamer Awards again, baby. There were 4 nominees for Best Strategy Game Streamer. And this will come as a shocking announcement to you guys, but I'm not on the list. And the 4 people that are on the list, I'd never heard of. But I believe they do very good in team fight tactics or whatever. I mean, there's like 27 different categories. But no. That's how it's called, right? Team fight, TFT, whatever. Just Google, guys, Streamer Awards. There are 27 different nominations or categories. And there's also international streamers. It's okay. As long as you guys love me. We don't need that global love. I'm okay with my little corner of the internet. First adept of Hero here in game 5 is gonna shade into the main base of Reynor. Reynor is 2 hits away from killing the adept. Does not quite kill it. Whew. 1 HP, guys. 1 HP. Mm-hmm. 1 HP is better than none. I like how Hero looks at an Adept with 1 HP and he's like, alright. That is the one that I need to make sure no links ever enter the main. And it makes sense, of course, guys, because we want to attack right now with 2 Adepts. Adepts are very powerful in sets of 2, so you don't want to attack with a low HP Adept. This is kind of funny. It is the right play. Still makes me chuckle because it's Hero. Ah, Hero, what are we doing here with our Oracle, mate? Oh. Hero miscontrolling his Oracle a little bit and flies it in the middle of 5 Queens attacking it at once. Does still have the 2 Adepts, but the Adepts are just not getting a whole lot done yet. Finally grabs 2 drones, but that does not make up for losing an Oracle. Sometimes the chaos gets the best even of Hero, as he does have 1 more Oracle now show up at the 3rd, but Reynor had a Spore Crawler, the 2 Adepts, and 1 Adept again, by the way, was incredibly low on HP. As Reynor even drops the Transfuse on a drone there. In the end, 6 drones, like, it's not bad, but it still doesn't really make up for losing that many Adepts and most importantly losing the Oracle. But there was some lost mining time, obviously a couple of links went down, so not a total disaster yet, as Hero is doing the classic Hero where he just keeps on warping in a whole bunch of Adepts without resonating glaives. And right when the Zerg thinks that the harassment phase is temporarily over, he's going to show up with more Oracles and more Adepts, but it shouldn't be that difficult for Reynor to deal with this. Oh my god, he lets the Shade finish up. He's freaking crazy. Alright, well, maybe it's a distraction maneuver for the Oracles to get some damage. I thought that Hero would realize that there was nothing to kill there, but maybe pulled the Queens out of position, but now he parks the Oracle above the Spore, and he actually flies back to get another drone. I mean, he got 6 additional workers. He takes the worker lead. I don't think that is good enough. Unless the same thing that happened in game 1 is going to happen again. And Reynor is not going to have any Roaches ready, and is not going to have any Banelings ready. I personally don't think that was good enough for Hero. He lost so many expensive units. I mean, he did slow down the Zerg. He killed a lot of drones, but like, it all comes down to if Reynor is going to be ready for whatever weird follow-up Hero is going to have. And it will probably include warping in a whole bunch of Zealots with +1, just like he did on Oceanborn. Reynor actually does have a somewhat similar setup where he's working on +1 melee, but he's gonna get the Roach Warren. Roaches are very... Oh my god. Another Oracle. That is the 3rd Oracle that has died in 6 minutes and 22 seconds. And this one died trying to drop a Stasis Trappy. Reynor gets an Overlord Scout up in the main. I think this is a big scout, guys. You're gonna see all these gates. And there really is no reason for Reynor to be like overly greedy at this point. Economically, the game didn't look that bad for Hero, and it still doesn't. I just feel that Hero is really relying on his next attack to deal a lot of damage. And I don't think it is going to deal that much damage. Any large bets made before the match? If you talk about channel points, I'm sure that plenty of channel points were wagered, yeah. Who is going to have the pleasure and the honor of playing a little best of 7 with Serral? Will it be BASILISK Reynor to make it an all BASILISK Grand Finals, or is it going to be our Korean Protoss Dragon KaiZi Gaming Hero? Couple of Archons, a couple of Zealots with +1. It's dangerous, but I don't think on creep against Roaches that will be out in time. It is going to be good enough. Seems that Hero did not believe in any sort of an attack. So he's like, I'm just going to go up to 4 bases. I think that is good news for Reynor. I think Reynor is very confident the longer the game goes. As Hero is going to lose Oracle number 4. Just not paying attention. Kudos to Reynor there, obviously, guys. He did not just click on the Oracle. He right-clicked the Queens underneath the Oracle to not alert his opponent. But it is a bad game to be a Hero Oracle, man. I think at this point he's just going to give up on them. He's like, yeah, you know, we tried. Made 4, lost 4 in 8 minutes and 12 seconds. It's all good. Hive gets fired up as Reynor is getting a couple of extra Spore Crawlers. Maybe it's to make his life a bit easier against the War Prisms. I know he has nothing to worry about when it comes to oracles anymore. Good job by Hero, by the way, pushing back the creep. Picking up all of these active creep tumors. That is awesome. Double Robo, cranking out 2 Immortals at a time as we have a Robo Bay on the way. I'm very happy to see that this game is not just going to end with a whole bunch of Zealots headbutting into Roaches and either coming out on top or losing. Oh, God, no! Please stop! Stop! Jesus. Hero will not lose the War Prism, but the War Prism takes a lot of damage. That is obviously something to please keep in the back of your mind, Hero, that now we probably shouldn't put too many expensive and important units inside of that War Prism. Hero is now going to crank out some Colossus. We mentioned a double Robo Colossus in the very beginning of this best of 5, and this is actually the first time we really get to see it in action. So I'm glad that Hero did not make me out to be a total liar. As will Hero split his Zealots? Absolutely not. Not a single split was given. He just doesn't believe in it. It's like I'm richer, right? I've got good upgrades? Oh, yeah. Not really and not really. But it's still going to be fine. The Archons have definitely done a very good job in making sure that this entire map is not purple. But I think Reynor is very happy with the position that he's currently in. He's going to be a Hive Tech Zerg. We're going to get a Dreno Glance. We're going to get +3 melee. We have a Spire on the production tab. And I think Reynor is very confident in playing with Hive Tech against Hero. Hero is a terrifying opponent for anyone and is devastating and has a lot of killer instinct and will commit in moments where you don't expect him to commit, so he's very unpredictable. I think the longer the game goes, the more it is going to favor Reynor. Morphing 36 Banelings at once. That is a very decent amount of Banelings, guys. This is also a decent amount of Archons, to be totally fair, right? Oh, Hero, stop. That War Prism is so important. We have a bunch of Zealots, I think, storming into the base at 3 o'clock. This is it. Hero knows that if this game goes on forever, it's not going to go well. There is a chance the Protoss army will do good, but Blinding Clouds are always so freaking scary. And look at the Blinding Clouds. The entire Protoss army is kind of just derping, moving back and forth. Reynor now has 104 Zerglings on the production tab. Only 2 Archons remain, but plenty of Colossus remain, so going this heavy on the links could get risky. Most of the barriers, though, should be on cooldown, right? Another Archon falls. And I think Reynor is just setting up another sexy surround right now, or are we gonna go for that? I would love to see some units go from the top right. I think this is the moment where maybe Reynor needs to get a couple of units up that ramp. He fires up a Greatest Spire while this entire army is staring him in the face. I would honestly say that there are better moments to fire up a Greatest Spire, but Reynor thinks that it is good enough as he does have a couple of units coming in from the back. This Protoss army, is it good enough to just stand here and fight? The Immortals kind of feel abandoned, and now it all comes down to a couple of Colossus and Stalkers. The War Prism gets abducted, no Warpins for you, no pickups for you, and running that far away from the Immortals I think meant that you're in the end going to lose everything. Because if those Immortals fall, then suddenly the Stalkers and the Ravagers, they become very dangerous. I mean, it is still a game. As Reynor obviously needs to be careful. He also spent an insane amount of money just pushing that army back. Now maybe that Greatest Spire is going to come into play in a very big way. I'd kind of just love to see Reynor spam out more Lings at this point. Because these Lings are about as good as they will ever get. And Hero's army, I think, is very fragile at the moment against crazy amount of Zerglings. Hero's gonna fire up Storm, which, looking at that previous fight, right, imagine a world where he could have landed a couple Storms on those 100 Zerglings that Reynor made, or all those Banelings that just crashed into the heart of the army. It could have been a game changer, but of course Storm is an expensive upgrade, and the fight would have looked very different regardless. Reynor is looking for an abduct on a Colossus, because if that Colossus dies, guys, this army is going to have a very fun time. One shield battery already got blown up. We do land the feedback on Hero's side. That's pretty big. Does he have enough? That's a slow Stalker Warpin, guys. The slowest of slow Stalker Warpins. And that is not going to help it out. Kill the pilot, Reynor. Oh my goodness. What the hell is that? That is what the Legacy of the Void cinematic trailer could have been. The slowest warping of all time. And then the pilot gets killed, so all the stalkers get denied. And in the end, he says, alright, well then I'll just show up with a couple of zealots. And this is actually a really good fight for the zealots on top of the Ravagers. I mean, that was a perhaps a blessing in disguise that we lost that slow warping. And it's like, oh, fuck it, I'll just go for zealots instead. Because the zealots did amazing there against the Ravagers, but I'm just afraid it's too late. Hero is a 3-base Protoss, of which the main base, Legacy of the Void, 15 minutes in, completely mined out. The natural, pretty much completely mined out. And even the third, only 4 out of 8 mineral patches are still alive. So what is your income right now? It is garbage. And it's absolute hot garbage, and Hero knows that. So what do you do here? Our Protoss here in a bit of trouble. In game 5 of the upper bracket semi-final. Of course, there is a lower bracket to drop down to and hopefully play well in. Hero definitely had his opportunities throughout this series and had some magical victories. Now we love it. A parasitic bomb goes down on a low HP prism. Is that good enough to kill the prism? Parasitic bomb is busto. As Reynor was so focused on wondering and not whether he was killing the prism that his Vipers go a bit too far forward. Probes are dying, I guess, to Zerglings or Banelings. Nobody really knows. I think it was just a couple of links. As Reynor is going to send more links into that last base. Here come the Banelings, and the Banelings will connect with the Zealots. And I don't believe that this is a fight that the Protoss can really win unless these Immortals truly live forever. They're actually doing pretty good against the first wave of Banes. And it's going to push the Roaches and Ravages back. But it always feels like it is inevitable that the Lings will show up. They surround the Immortals. And I think with that, Reynor is going to give us an all Basilisk upper bracket final as he wins the series 3-2. A fun best of 5 and nail biter. Hero is going to drop to the lower bracket. And we'll see more of Reynor in just a couple minutes. Where he is going to play a best of 7 for the ages against his teammate. It is a good day to be a member of Basilisk, guys. Serral 3-0 Maru, Reynor 3-2 Hero. Very close and contested series. But a lot of fun. The boys are back on top. A ZVZ upper bracket final. And obviously, getting this close to IM Katowice, that is a very fun thing to look at.
Biu 是我运营的产品，我想通过它和更多不懂分寸的人一起探索世界的边界。正是这些不懂分寸的人，也许他们不被理解。
Yep, we're gonna do a best of 7. I do believe there's going to be a bit of a break. Obviously, Reynor deserves a break because Serral had quite some time off after his series against Maru. So I'd be incredibly shocked if they just want to start this right here, right now. That would not make any sense to me. That would be unfair. Reynor obviously is a veteran and he will just request time. Like, what are they going to do? Tell you to show up right here, right now. Like, so I'm sure that it's going to take like 5 minutes or so altogether. Reynor deserves a sec. Time to make some cash and give us those ads. I make very little cash of ads this month, unfortunately. I mean, after the 100 and something hours, it is a somewhat decent number, but the 3 minutes that I'm about to play, mate, they're not going to give your man a whole lot. If you guys want to support me, it has to come from you, not so much from the ads. Maybe on a different month, the ads would be awesome, but January is rough. It is Reynor in the end who wins. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a prediction for the upper bracket final. A best of 7. Let's get some Basilisk branding in there, shall we? Some brand awareness. Basilisk Serral, Basilisk Reynor. Does it fit to win the best of 7? Alright. Beautiful. I'll give you guys 15 minutes because I think that 15 minutes is fine because Reynor obviously deserves some time after that series that he just played. The ZVZ, that is a bit of a BVB, but not to be confused with the BBB that will be happening tomorrow night again. Tomorrow night, 6 p.m. European time, so noon on the East Coast, 9 a.m. on the West Coast. We have another edition of the Basilisk Big Brain Bouts with a couple of nerds that have never played before. And also a fun PvP main event. You guys want to see a Protoss win in the main event? We'll make it happen. Arsenal against Australia, baby. 1 Protoss will come out on top. I can't wait for it. That's going to be fun. But that's Friday night stuff. We'll worry about that when it's Friday. I'll take a couple minutes. After that, I'll be back. Serral versus Reynor is coming up.